everybody, my name is NicoD. Today I want to talk about the Banana Pi M2 It's got the same form factor as the Raspberry Pi Zero, but these are not software compatible. So you cannot use the operating systems of the Raspberry Pi on the Banana Pi. Also, the Raspberry Pi has got one core of 1 GHz. This one has got 4 cores of 1.2 GHz. So this is a lot faster than the Raspberry Pi, but of course with speed comes a lot of heat. So this board heats up very quickly. I use this copper heatsink on it and this is not sufficient enough. Even with 2 copper heatsinks it's not good enough. So I also use a fan for it to be able to use it at maximum performance. Also this board has got Wi-Fi on board, but you have to use this antenna to be able to use it. But with this antenna it works better than the Wi-Fi on the Raspberry Pi Zero W. Also the software for it isn't great. There's 2 operating systems I've used for it. There's an Armbian version, but this Armbian version has not been made by the people from Armbian, so you cannot get support for it. There's also a Ubuntu version for it. This Ubuntu version works great. I will show you how I optimized it to use this board to the max. So let's go to the specs. The CPU is an Allwinner H2 Plus quad-core at 1.2 GHz. The GPU is a Mali 400 MP2 at 600 MHz. So it's a dual-core GPU at 600 MHz. This should be a lot better for RetroPie, but of course this board has got a lot less support for RetroPie than the Raspberry. It's got 512 MB of DDR3 RAM. The GPIO pins are compatible with the Raspberry Pi. So there's Wi-Fi on board, but you have to use the antenna. It's got 1 micro USB connector and 1 micro USB for the power. It also has got a micro SD slot and a camera connector. There are some differences on the hardware of these boards. So the Banana Pi has got a Wi-Fi antenna connector. It also has got 2 buttons, one for power and one for reset. And also it has got Ethernet breakout pins. On the back sides of the Banana Pi there are also no breakout pins like on the Raspberry Pi. So a lot of devices from the Raspberry Pi Zero won't work on this board. To download the images, I search in Google for BPi Zero downloads. The first page you get is not the right one, so the second one, we go there. So Banana Pi Zero, here again Banana Pi Zero images, and here is the Armbian distro, and here is the Ubuntu that I use. So to download, just click here, and it's a Google Drive, so it's not a very good download source. So here I am in Ubuntu Mate. The base clock in Mate is 960 MHz. So to change that we need CPU FreakUtils. So type in this to install it, and type in this to change it to 1.2 GHz. So press enter and type in the passwords. And now you see it's changed to 1.2 GHz. And also it's interactive right now. To change that to performance, type in this, press enter, and you see it's changed to performance now. So this way we can use the CPU at maximum performance. The Mate desktop uses 218 MB of the RAM, so that's almost half. So to improve on that, we can install the Lubuntu Desktop. This only uses 150 MB, or the LXDE desktop is 144 MB. So type in this to install the Lubuntu and the LXDE desktop. As I already told you, this thing gets very hot. So without a load in 1080p and with the heatsink and no fan, it's 66 degrees Celsius. So this is a lot. Also in 1080p the display stutters a lot, so it's unusable in 1080p. So the temperature in 720p is a bit lower, so it's 63 degrees Celsius without a load, so this is still a high temperature, but if we go to the full loads, it goes over 85 degrees Celsius. I didn't want to go further because I didn't want to break these boards. I've seen other reviews of other people about these boards. They didn't check the temperatures, they didn't check the CPU frequencies, and their results are total bogus. So the temperatures with the fan are a lot better. So the no load temperature goes down to 37 degrees Celsius and the full load is 60 degrees Celsius at 1.2 gigahertz. So this is a lot better with the fan, but it's a bit a shame that this small form factor needs a fan. I have tried to lower the base temperature of this board, but nothing helped. Even if I turned off 2 cores, it's still the same. If I underclock it to 600 megahertz, it's still the same. It's always 63 degrees Celsius. Of course, I had to do the Bmw Blender Benchmark in 720p with it. So the result is 3 hours, 31 minutes and 31 seconds. So compared to the Raspberry Pi, this is 45 minutes slower than the Raspberry Pi 3B. It should be more equal, but I don't know what's the reason for this. I had to make a swap file for it, but I don't think Blender used the swap file for this. I have also done a 7-zip benchmark. So the single core score was 606 million instructions per second, or MIPS. If we compare that to the single core of the Raspberry Pi Zero, which only has got 412 MIPS, so the Banana Pi is half as fast as the single core of the Raspberry Pi, but of course the Banana Pi has got 3 extra cores. So the score for 4 cores is 2109 MIPS, compared to the Raspberry Pi 3B, which has got 3277 MIPS on 4 cores. It's a lot slower. So here we are in the LXDE environment, so I'll show you which programs I've installed. So these are the default programs all. So I installed Blender and also GIMP and also Pinta. It all works very well. Here you see GIMP. It's very snappy, it's not too slow. Compared to the Raspberry Pi Zero, all these things work very good. The Zero is too slow for me, I can't stand it to work with that. So like you see, it works well. For surfing the internet there is Chromium. It's very good for surfing. Firefox doesn't work, but video playback is very bad. In 240p it's okay, but who wants to watch video in 240p? I've also installed LibreOffice. It wasn't installed on default, but I've just installed it and it works well. So it's pretty good as a desktop computer. You can also watch videos with MPV player, and this works very well. So my conclusion about the Banana Pi M20 is, this board gets way too hot. Maybe they should have added a bit more metal to it, so that the heat dissipation would be better on it. You always have to carry along a fan for it, or else it will throttle constantly. It also uses a lot more power than the Raspberry Pi Zero. This uses 0.75 amps, and with full load it's more than 1 amp. It's 1.1 amps. It's not comparable with the Raspberry Pi Zero. The Zero has got its advantages, and this has got its advantages too, but its greatest disadvantage is that it gets too hot. So this is my conclusion. I hope you like my video. Thank you for watching. See you later. Bye.